Hello there. I've been inspired, I really have been inspired over the last few months. I've been doing some work with some new friends and some older friends in the island of Ireland during the lockdown period. And what's really inspired me is how enthusiastic and keen and thirst for knowledge, thirst for paddling, community involvement, all round enthusiasm for the sports, for each other, helping each other out. It's a really great community they've got in Ireland. I think there's 16 to 18 clubs of the Irish Dragon Boat Association. They are independent, fiercely proud, but also interdependent as well. So when there's a challenge, they all sort of get stuck in together and help out. So it's a good community. They race, they're independent in racing, but also very happy to join forces, help each other, do stuff together, and just move the whole sport and the whole community forward. Now, I've seen dragon boating in a number of countries, but I've never seen it done in this particular way, where it's so interoperable, if you like, if that's the correct term to use. And I'm looking forward, actually, when the lockdown finishes, to going over to Ireland and paddling with the various people I've got to know, the various clubs, paddling the island of Ireland and the rivers of the island of Ireland, and I'm quite looking forward to it. So this edition of Paddle Shanties is sort of dedicated partly to trying to get more blokes, more individuals, more males involved in paddling. It's very rich in bonny lasses, not so rich at the moment in bonny lads, and I'm sure we can all do our bit to assist that. That's going to beef up the racing they do in Ireland. It's going to enable more mixed racing and maybe even some open categories as well, which is going to improve the quality of racing all round and the rich diversity, or increase the rich diversity they've already got in the islands of Ireland. So, like I say, if you're interested in paddling in Ireland, IDBA website is the first port of call, or if you know where your local club is, on the IDBA, Irish Dragon Boat Association website, there's a contact page with contact details for all the various and many and various clubs throughout the island of Ireland. There's contact details, and you'll get a very warm and a very rich cultural welcome, as I have found, wherever you go. Please enjoy this edition of Paddle Shanties. Love to hear your feedback. And more important than that, get in contact with some Irish clubs. Try it, go paddling, and I will almost guarantee you'll be hooked. Have a lovely day, enjoy. Sun's going down here in England, and that's all from me. Have a lovely day. See you soon. Cheers.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Paddle Shanties, and I'm very pleased, in fact, to talk to Roger and Caroline in Kilkenny in the southwest of Ireland. I'm trying to learn my
East.
Oh, east. I was about to say, I'm trying to learn my geography of Ireland, not very well at the moment. I'm joined by my son here, Henry.
Hello.
Now, before, if you don't mind, because I had a little preparation meeting with Roger a few days ago, and he happened to mention that he was present, in fact, more than present, come 6th or 7th, I think, in the World Canoe Polo Championships in Sheffield in 1994, and Caroline was there as well. And
yeah, most completely, well. Yeah.
Now, it just so happens that Henry is the University of Nottingham men's captain. So if we could, straight off the bat, given yours, were you actually running, was it your team that you took, the Irish team?
Two, a women's team and a men's team.
Right. So
yeah.
if you had an aspiring international here, and he says, what advice would you give him? So basically, he's now talking to two internationals. Because he's now not struggling. He's enjoying the challenge of captaincy of a university team. It's quite a good standard team, I've got to say. But what advice would you, what pearls of wisdom would you give him as he steps forward and onto an ever bigger and bigger stage? What do you reckon?
So I think, and the thing that helped us at the time, and that's a long time ago, but we used to travel all over the place to play canoe polo, because you need to see what, like, how the Germans are playing, how the Australians are playing, and they're all playing different games. And I can still remember in Sheffield when the Australian women came out to play us, and we got hoovered off the pitch because all their boats went under us. Wow. Like we needed to have known how to play them, and how they played before we actually played, and we certainly had no idea what to do. I think you need to go and play everywhere.
The advantage of being in college is you might have more time, but if you're running a club, a lot of your time is committed on that. When you can get free, and if you really want to do it, you've got to play at the highest level. Division 1, Prem Polo. Forget about minding anybody else and be totally selfish about you and your game. Same as in dragon boating. Get in the right company, and you can have great fun. It's a great ticket to travel on.
Yeah.
Like dragon boating.
I was surprised when Henry he's been a dragon boater. He was, when I was running the Premier team, he was the GB helm, and he wasn't the GB helm because he was my son. In fact, if anything, he probably had to work a bit harder. So there's no free passes. You know what I mean? And he won't mind me saying, or he will mind me saying, he's probably the best dragon boat helm. I've never seen anybody surf a dragon boat, but he can do it. I don't know, but that's beyond what I can teach him. But when he went to university, I'd expect him to sort of, you're not going to do the sport you're doing with your dad, which is fair enough. And I was surprised when I saw him play canoe paddle, how aggressive the sport was. That's my ignorance of the sport, but really surprised me that really how aggressive he was actually. That's my son. Must get it from his mum.
So what boat are you using, Henry?
So at the moment, I don't have my own boat, but the club boats that we use at the moment are mainly combats or nomads. They're we get a lot of funding from the uni, so we're, compared to other university teams, obviously it's a lower level than we play in National League, but around Div 2, Div 3, not near the top with our team, but we're quite well funded. So the kit we have is a really good standard compared to other teams, and we do get the opportunity. Like, I make a point of entering ours into, or making sure we're entered into lots of competitions around the country. So we go to Warwick and do competitions. We do obviously the Bucks, the big university ones in Cardiff and in Nottingham as well. But last year we also went to the Paddle in Belgium, like the big competition there, and we entered 3 teams actually. We took 3 teams within the uni, so it was a men's A, a men's B, and a ladies team, and we were all in Division 3. So it was our first time at like an international competition. So we went there and we had a great experience. And my team, the men's A, actually won Div 3, so it came home with a big trophy, which was really nice. But it was exactly like you said. It was really good to see how other teams played. I think within the division, I can't remember exactly. There must have been 8 or 10 teams within our group, probably 10. And it was just great playing amongst other people and getting to meet other people and seeing how their games differed. Because a lot of the UK teams, apart from the teams where, say, Liverpool, for example, at the moment, where they have 3 or 4 big GB players, obviously they play a very GB-centred style, because that's what works. Like, they do so well at the competitions at the moment. But apart from that, a lot of the teams around our level, sort of Nottingham, Warwick, Loughborough, they're playing a very similar game. So it was, like you said, it was great to see how other teams play in different countries and see. And it was really good to play and also to watch other teams. Obviously, watch the highest level teams and see how they play. And it's just a great experience. But like I said, we're very well funded, so we're not short of kit in the club, luckily, which is always good. But yeah.
It's a very different game to dragon boating. We're out in OC1s at the moment because we can't be out in a dragon boat, and I find it really hard not to turn other people's boats or hit them with my boat. You're just like, oh, and I can remember learning how to drive and playing canoe polo, and they don't go together. No.
Bumper cars.
It's bumper cars.
It's just something completely different. Like, especially coming from dragon boating, doing, God, how many years? Maybe 7, 8 years on the trot, like through school and through college, and then coming to university and doing something completely different, which was always the plan. But it was always like, I loved it straight from the start because it's something completely different. I liked the idea of like the tactics behind it, and that's what pushed me quite a lot to sort of the captain side of it, because I quite like I don't know, sort of working in that atmosphere, and I really enjoyed it right from the start. Yeah.
Brilliant. It reminds me of 2013. We went to the European Club Championships, Dragon Boat. Henry was drumming then, and I was paddling with Amethyst. Amethyst was by by a long way, the UK champions, and we got absolutely hammered. Absolutely hammered. You know, got our backsides handed to us, and actually it was one of the best trips we did, because you see on the big, you know, you're big fish in a small pond, and you suddenly see how big the pond is, and you can only but improve your game. But brilliant. Oh, thanks for that. That's great, because it's
that's amazing.
Okay, thank you.
Very much, Dan.
Just rewinding back.
Henry.
Thank you.
Kilkenny. So, tell us about Kilkenny Aqua Canoe Club. So, how did you get involved in that, and how did that all start, and what's the story behind that then?
No, the club started long before me. There's been canoeing in a few clubs in Kilkenny, and a guy called Darrell started this club probably 25 years ago.
Right.
We moved to Kilkenny 20 years ago, and kids were young, and I had no interest in paddling or anything at that stage. It was
Really?
one of those things, you know, you go through in life, and I had no interest whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then the kids got older, we started bringing them paddling, and I got involved in the canoe club, and ultimately his time ended and it was time for someone else to take over. So I walked into that job and spent too long in it, but eventually found a good person to take over. So in that time, we played a lot of canoe polo, did marathon races. Liffey, our big race of the year, our Grand National, is called the Liffey Descent.
Yes.
So that's Ken, whom you know, myself. That's our annual event. We race C2, and fight for that in most years. But Kilkenny Aqua, we brought kids up from our kids' age up, playing like Henry, playing Division 3 national polo, and bringing them up as far as Division 1, but inconsistently because the standard wasn't there. So look, the club's been going a long time, and it's in a very healthy position now, because at some stage, maybe 6 years ago, a guy said, there's 2 dragon boats for sale. If we pay the guy €1, we can have them.
€1.
€1. Now, they were probably 20 years old at that stage.
They were wooden.
No, they were fiberglass, but they were very heavy. And
Right.
they weren't. One of them was fitted out, one wasn't. And the condition was that if we took the boats, one, we had somewhere to put them, and secondly, they would be shared equally with the breast cancer group called Dragon Paddlers, who had already started paddling but didn't have a boat. So we shared the boat with them, and they joined our club, and that's where the whole thing took off from. So we've built that up, and Caroline can tell you. I can't remember. I have a desperate recollection, but Caroline will tell you what happened the next stages.
Yeah, so some of the women who would have been paddlers in the canoe club were invited to join the Dragon Paddlers while they set up, so that there were people in the boat who actually knew how water worked and how to keep the boat upright. Yeah. So we paddled with them for only a few of us, for about 2 or 3 years. And then we paddled and competed with them and learned how to dragon boat with them. And then the club, we decided as a club to set up as a club, because they were starting to look at being purely a breast cancer crew, right, which is completely fair enough. And I think it's quite difficult to have a mixed crew. That we needed to make changes on both sides. So we've set up a mixed club. Now it's mainly women at the moment.
Yeah.
And what's really, really exciting is that we're getting, like, a lot of women maybe who would have been lost to sport or lost to canoeing, we're beginning to get them back. So the club, which would have been very much male and juniors, now has a huge percentage of women. I think, like, probably the biggest percentage of women in Ireland in a canoe club. Right. Because of dragon boating.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So we've set it up. We have, we managed to get one boat ourselves. We were borrowing a boat off Dragon Paddlers, and we've just managed to get leader funding to buy a second boat and a trailer. So we're really excited about that, because that means that we have lots of rivers in Ireland, and even though we're a dragon crew, we're also very much canoeing background. Yeah. So it'll be like Ken will say on a Sunday, let's go to the Barrow, or let's go somewhere next weekend. Yeah. And we don't have to ask anybody, can we borrow their gear or anything? We can just say, well, have we got a crew, and go. Right. So huge.
Yeah, so we now have one champion boat. Julie Doyle, who you talked to, she was selling off for replacing her stock. So she sold us a boat at a very reasonable price.
Yeah.
So that got us going. That was just last year. And then as a result of whatever leader, it's some European funded side of things, locally administered. We managed to get a grant, and so we're getting a brand new teddy boat. It's in Manchester at the moment.
Yeah. That's the Polish boat. They're really quite good, aren't they? I mean, I've seen some Teddy outrigger boats as well, and it's good price and good quality as well. I think one of the big corporates called, can't remember. I'll remember in a minute. One of the big corporates in the UK uses Teddy boats, and I've done some work with them. They really are good quality boats actually, and sensible prices when you compare to. Yeah, you could drive over to Poland and pick one up for a fraction of.
Yeah, and Mr. Teddy's driving to us with the boat.
Oh, even better. Even better.
His agent is a Lithuanian polo player. So we worked hard with him, and he gave us the keenest price compared to the others. So when it comes to public funding and grant money, you've got to buy the cheapest. So he manipulated it. So yeah, we've ended up. Look, it's a super. We're getting 75% of a grant. Wow. So what we managed to do was get a boat and trailer. So for the money of the grant, we've taken a basic construction boat, put Mr. Teddy driving over a trailer and going to deliver us a brand new trailer and a boat, and we'll have 2 boats out.
Brilliant. I mean, what's quite interesting, I mean, talking to Julie and other people I've been talking to people, as you know, all over Ireland over the last few months. It's really been enlightening. How the sport is configured. I knew there was 16, 18 teams, something like that. I didn't realise it was quite rich in ladies. So why do you think it's not been so appealing to men so far to date?
So I think that dragon boat paddling has come into Ireland through breast cancer teams.
Yes. Yeah.
And certainly that's the way it started. So I think that a lot of men would think that it is more based towards women and breast cancer teams.
Right.
So it's taken time. Like, we're going back 3 years now, are we? It's taken time for people to realise that we have a mixed team.
Right.
We have managed. We ran a session for just men, out in the boat. Really hard to keep them because they're all cycling or GAA, or I'm sure Julie told you all that. They're like, men in Ireland do a lot of sports.
Yes,
like,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Well, men who do sports do a lot of them. So,
right.
We have a couple of medical consultants, but this guy, his first thing on Sunday morning, we go for a cycle. If he wasn't a cyclist, we could have him, but really he wants to go and do 100 Ks on his bike. And that was probably true of all the people that we had. They just were busy at other things as well. So we haven't managed to tap in. And also we're of an age profile where we're looking, the people we know are about the same age as us. A 20-year-old isn't going to be interested in paddling with us. So there's that element too.
Yeah, to build that.
I mean, that's the case, certainly the case in the UK, that we would have like people of Henry's age, they'd do the sport with their father or their mother or their parents, whatever. And then when they get to university or to college, they branch out and do other things. So people tend to come back into the sport in the UK, mid-30s, 40s, that sort of thing. So the Premier team do very well. I used to coach a Premier team. But the rich supply is in not later life, it's 40 onwards, 40 to 50, 60. But it was interesting that why.
But so, like, I have 3 children who all canoe.
Right.
And none of them, well, one of them, my daughter, would get into a dragon boat with us. But it's not as exciting as playing canoe polo or doing freestyle paddling. It's a team event, really. You have to pull as a team together. Yeah. And as Roger says, you really need people the same age as them. Like, maybe if university had a boat, you get those younger people. But at the same time, you can look at it like, well, why aren't we not getting men? But canoe clubs lose women at a certain age. Yes. Like you go and have children, and then when you look to go back and paddle again, all those women of that age have gone. Yeah. Or certainly that was my experience. So dragon boating has pulled us back in again to paddle, and made us all realize, like, we love paddling, but we like paddling with other women as well, in the same way that young people and men want to paddle with other young people and men.
Yes, yeah. And in fact, I was talking to Lorraine in Dublin last week, and we were talking about sort of, she came into the sport once again. She'd had her children, come back in about mid-40s, something like that, and she used it as a sort of a way to, one, refine herself, as an improve in terms of fitness, and also refined herself, a bit of private space, me space, that sort of thing. Once you've been spending a lot of time looking after the family and looking after other stuff as well. I was wondering how we could approach that from the more men's side of things, not being men-centric, but just sort of trying to see what Roger thinks. So how, you being the poster boy now up front for getting men in the sport, what would you say?
We haven't succeeded. I think it's just going to go in little steps. We're going to run another course. We're going to advertise another course this year. Well, the plan was, COVID may or may not allow. It might be next year at this stage. What we're hoping to do is to end up with enough women to maybe compete at a club international with maybe 10 women or maybe 20 women both, and to see if we can get enough men between ourselves and maybe a few other clubs to make a 10-man national or club team. Sort of a bit on the Pat's idea, where effectively we create and register another club to Julie, to the IDBA, and that we create a separate club, just a racing club. But that doesn't actually grow the men in our sport. But we're hoping that we might get a 10-man elite men's group together. We're going to run a course here for men, see what comes. We can only chip away. We enjoy the paddling. There's no money, there's no money in it. We enjoy ourselves, and if we can get more men, we'll see what happens.
So what in a nutshell, how would you say you were trying to convince me? So I just met you, and I'll say, well, tell me what there is. What is it about dragon boating for you which makes it an appealing or an exciting sport? Well, how would you sell it to somebody if you're trying to sell it to somebody?
I think it's a team and a power sport. And I would say to you, if you're interested in a different sport, come out and try this. If you like water, come out for a paddle and have, and try it out. That's as much as I'd say to people. I mean, people can see the crack that we have. That's where I say to my friends, and we have a few friends who we brought out, but they'd be busy. So it's hard to know. We're trying to poach people maybe from other sports like rowing or other maybe guys who've become injured from cycling and can't running more so, can't run anymore, but would like to do some sport. It's hard to know how to get.
I know certainly in Europe, in mainland Europe, some of the clubs there, from kayak and canoe clubs, they would do maybe their prime years, they would do canoe kayak competition C1, O1, K1, whatever, and then stay with the sport and become a dragon boater later on. But sometimes they just use that, like I think there's a big club, Neckardraken, which I believe in the Neckar Valley in Germany is an amalgamation of different clubs. So they're different. There's maybe, I don't know, I've been told, maybe wrong, 6 or 8 canoe kayak clubs in the Neckar Valley, and they come together to perform as Neckardraken or Neckardraken or compete as Neckardraken. And of course, they clear the board because they're all competition paddlers anyway. But that might
I think the difficulty, how much work there is involved in kayak racing. We haven't managed to harness that in Kilkenny. I mean, our son is in the top 5 in the world as a freestyler, so he's a paddler. And our daughter is a paddler and a kayak instructor, and our youngest is also a polo player when we drag him along. So we end up with a family polo team, but they've had no interest in dragging. They have no more interest in, our daughter would get in a dragon boat and has fun with us, but they're doing other things. We haven't managed to harness our own family to be interested in racing. And the other kids that I brought through the canoe club, many of them are still paddling, but they're doing freestyle or river tripping or instructing. So look, if you're fit and healthy, it doesn't matter.
Right. So how was, a sort of bit of a rhetorical question, how was the COVID situation impacted on Kilkenny Aqua Canoe Club? So what's been going on? I know a few things, but how have you managed to
we've been having great fun. Apart from your challenge, which we did, and these
Absolutely.
are our medals.
Very nice too.
You saw them, did you, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a brilliant challenge. That pulled a lot of people back into us again, and worked really brilliantly. Great crack. But from our point of view, I think it's actually going to be a very something that's going to improve everybody's paddling.
Yeah.
We have been converting K1s to OC1s, and we have Helen has been busy making outriggers for us.
Wow. Yeah.
And we have, like, we're getting a group of people out. We're taking more people out this week, and getting them so that they know when they pull water what they're actually pulling. I think that it's something that I've learned during this time, that people who you think can paddle really well, but actually when you put them into water, they have to learn how to pull it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're hiding in the boat, even though we don't know it and they don't know it.
I mean, it's always fascinated me when people get out of a boat, a 20K race, or, like a race, and they're saying, I was great, I was fine the next day. And I'm thinking, we are here dying. And going, well, are they just fitter than us? It was just... So we have, and what's actually interesting, so we have a lot of women who have started to buy K1s. We're converting them. We're taking them out in the river. We're starting to do small weirs, and we even did a river trip in the O1s, which was, and that crew are starting to say, hang on a second, we're enjoying this so much, will we go back in a dragon boat? Because like a dragon boat, and I think this is the thing, that when you keep asking about dragon boats and why are we not getting more people in, you have to be willing to be part of a team and play the game.
Yeah.
If you're in your own boat, you don't have to do that. You can, you can play a different game. You know what I mean? Like, you're free to go whichever way you want.
Gradually getting back into boats at some stage in the future. What do you think the future holds for Kilkenny as a dragon boat entity? I mean, what's your plans in the future?
Oh, World Championships, paddlers taking part in club World Championships.
Right.
Either as absolutely. I've done World Championships in freestyle, in whitewater boats, in marathon, in canoe polo, and hopefully next year in Nottingham in freestyle worlds. So dragon boating is the next. And I think Caroline has plans, much more realistic plans for our group. She can tell you, really.
Go on then, Caroline, what's the realistic plans? I think that's great plans, but okay.
I think they're brilliant plans. I suppose for me, it's always about building the crew, building a stronger crew, getting everybody fitter in the boat and stronger in the boat. Yeah, I want to look at an event in Europe next year for the crew. A 10 or 20 women event. The men would probably be a mixed crew. I don't see them managing to put that together, but that's just a personal view at the moment. And get people back out in the water and improving. We're doing a lot of stuff around relationships with other clubs in Ireland, and we're starting to get to know everybody as well. So we're looking at maybe doing more like a club championship. So where we can go to events, say in Athy or Dublin or Carlow or whatever, that are, you turn up with your boat, you put it in and you paddle, you race each other. I think we need more races. And again, that goes back to your earlier point, that we need more races, particularly for men. We need more races. Yeah. They need more competition. Kendra would be the strongest team that we have in Ireland from a male point of view, but they don't have any competition. So, then you go to Europe and you get hockeyed. But you have to have competitions for people to improve and to realize that they want to do it. We're looking at the clubs maybe becoming a little bit more. See, we're lucky. We come under the Irish Canoe Union. So we can organize an event under their insurance. So it doesn't cost as much. So we can rock up, and we can probably charge people €10 a head if they're not a member of the ICU to paddle. So it's a much cheaper
way. It's a day passes, I think you have in BCS.
Yeah.
That's now available to us. So, and as I said to you earlier, the benefit of Canoeing Ireland membership is we also have a member-to-member scheme, which is very valuable. And both our breast cancer group and our club, all are members. That covers us the best way.
So if you're a member of Canoe Island, is it called Canoe Island? I should know. So you're a member of Canoe Island. So you're when you do dragon boating, you're covered by that same insurance, or is there separate?
Yes.
separate?
Yes.
We are, yeah, because we're members of that. So, but it gives us a lot more freedom in a way to run an event. Whereas if you're IDBA, if they run an event, it's huge. The insurance is huge on it.
Yeah.
We can just decide to rock up at a river, and as long as it's safe and we've done all our, checked everything out and done it the right way. Our risk assessment. As long as we've done that, we can run an event and it doesn't cost very much. I mean, I don't think you need to be having prizes at every event. I think you just need to get out and paddle and race other teams and find out. You don't know until you're in a race that sometimes you're in the wrong lane, and no matter what you do, you're not getting out of it. And you just, there's things you learn. You know this better than I do, but there's things you learn in a race that we're never going to learn against each other, in our own club. That I would love to see that happening next year.
So you're talking maybe about a squash ladder sort of thing. So I don't know, where Kilkenny might race, I don't know, Cork and Carlow, and then another event you race another two teams, and so you end up. So you don't necessarily have to bring everyone together, on the same event. But I mean, one of the things I do, I run small, well, I say up to about 20-21 team events for people like Pink Champagne, and I know about the insurance side of things because it's quite expensive to do it, but that's just it's a requirement, and you wouldn't run the event without it, so that's fine. But it's interesting to see what the plans are, actually, because that's quite exciting, actually, because it's from what I've learned, it's quite a vibrant paddling community. I know you've only got maybe 3 events a year, IDBA, but there's other stuff going on. I didn't even realise, and this is to my discredit, I used to do the X descent when it used to run, and I didn't realise the Liffey descent was still running. I've got to get over and do that, because I used to love doing that race. And they had a few incidents and then cancelled it. I think 95, I think, whenever it was. But
Ken and I raced that at least twice. Yeah.
Right, because that's a great event. But if you've got something like that, then I need to be spending, because where you are, I'm sort of 45 minutes from Luton, and Dublin is an hour from Luton. So I need to be spending more time in Ireland paddling, because it's just what I've learned over the last few months is great waters, great people. And last point before I ask you one more question, I was having a laugh with Dan Curtis yesterday, and he was talking about Kendra Dragons. He was saying, we've never been beaten. I said, I think you have. He says, oh yeah, we got beaten once in 2017. He says, yeah, I know, I was in that crew. It was the Dublin event. It was the London Warriors. But in fairness to Kendra and Dan, I was coaching the British Premier team, and probably 60% of that team, 70% were GB Prems. So the real story is not that we beat Kendra Warriors, but they were so close behind us. You know what I mean? That's the real story, because I mean, we should have won coming straight off the back of a world championship. But anyway, that's been great. Last question for you two. What makes you happy? Because my site is called Gross Paddling Happiness. So what makes you happy, Caroline? Say Roger.
No. I was going to say, ramming somebody in an O1 boat when I shouldn't do that.
An O1. Okay.
Anybody who watches this who knows me will know who I did it to. Go on, Raj, say something nice.
Go on then.
I just love exercise and paddling, whether I'm on my own or with others. Yeah, I just love paddling.
Okay. Right, let's leave it there. Hang on there. I'm going to turn off the recording, but hang on there for a minute. That's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, your experiences. Brilliant. Hang on for a minute. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've invited my friend Mark O'Connor back from Cork Dragons, and really we're trying to get more men involved in dragon boating in Ireland. So I've got my poster boy from Cork here. So Mark, in your own words, tell me why you think more men should be paddling, 1, in Cork Dragons, and 2, in Ireland generally? Sir, the floor is yours.
Well, in Ireland generally and in Cork Dragons, I think more men should be paddling for the simple reason that it's very good for your health. You're going to become super strong from it. You're going to build up ferocious cardio resistance, and most importantly, I think as well, it's very good for your mental health. Just to get out and, when you get on the water, everything, any stresses you have are completely washed away. Pardon the pun, but it's amazing sport, and more men should be doing it, especially in the Cork Dragons, because I'm the only one that's really paddling competitively. We have one other man, and we have another man that comes out every now and again. But in general, we need more men, not just for the Cork Dragons, but to beef up the sport in Ireland a bit. We have a couple of teams in Ireland with men, but we need more men because it's really top heavy with women, which is nothing wrong with that either. But if we got more men, we'd have more teams, because we could have more teams of combined men and women, and then you're able to go further with that as well,
So what do you think of this? I mean, you've been going 10 years. The sport's been going 10 years in Ireland now. I know there's been a national team with senior A ladies, so over 40s ladies so far, and they've done really well, actually. I know certainly in Rome they got 3 silvers and a bronze, and in Vanderbilt 3 silvers. So what do you think is not keeping men away? What do you think we need to do to reach out to them? Because we all love the sport, so we know the benefits of it. So what do you think? Where do you think we should be reaching out to?
I think we should be reaching out in the line of, I would just say, more advertisement of the sport as well, because a lot of men are kind of either tied to golf, football, Gaelic football, hurling, rugby, and we need to promote the sport more to try and bring it in line with the other sports that I've mentioned. Yeah. Because if you do, I think once people actually start to do it, they'll absolutely love it, because it's an amazing sport, and you can have it as easy or as hard as you want to have it. Yeah. You can be as competitive or non-competitive as you want it, depending on the team that you're in. But most teams accommodate a bit of everything per se. So I think go for it. Why not?
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's interesting, is it I'm not so. I think on the continent of Europe, people tend to come into dragon boating a little bit later. Maybe they might be kayak or canoeists, and they do dragon boat later on. And it gets them, and it gives them another wind, a second wind in terms of sporting. But I think probably that's where we need to be focusing as well, because I'd imagine in Ireland, then the traditional sports are going to be very strong, so you're not going to compete with those. But certainly maybe as a second sport, as a second string, and even a complementary training opportunity. So you could be doing one sport and dragon boat as well. Yeah? What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, and one, obviously then one will help the other as well. Yes. But the bottom line is, as I said, a lot of people in Ireland are tied with GA and such. But so if you go back to the point that you made about people kayaking and canoeing and curricking and so on, if you get these people involved, they get their families involved, and then it'll start the domino effect. And that's what needs to happen. But what really needs to happen is, I think, a good advertisement campaign, because a lot of people don't know about dragon boating.
Yeah. I've got to say how I got into the sport myself, and my son's here with me now, and I've been kayaking since the mid-80s, and it's only when he became a scout, and there's a scout association badge, and the scout leaders asked me to do the badge, and that's when I discovered there was a dragon boat club down the road from me on the Thames. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, at the times I've been on the Thames, I've never actually seen them training. So it's just as you say. So okay. Yes, go.
In my case, I would have never heard about dragon boating until I actually got cancer.
Right.
I've seen other boats going up and down the river before, and you can say, oh yeah, that looks good and so on, and 10 minutes later you'll be after forgetting about it. But now, after getting sick and then getting involved, with just saying, wow, look what I've been missing out on for years. But at least I'm still doing it now, so it's.
Okay then, so ladies and gentlemen, you heard it there from Mark O'Connor down in Cork. Get yourself down to Cork Dragons, talk to Mark. I can leave a contact point for Cork Dragons or anywhere else in Ireland. We need more men involved in the sport, build up the men's profiles, just tell them how great it is and get more involved, better racing, better quality, everything. Mark, once again, thank you, my friend. Hang on there. I'll just knock the recording off and I'll talk again. Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Paddle Shanties. I'm talking to a good friend of mine, Dan Curtis, who I only met a few months ago in Athy. Now, I didn't know, to my discredit, I didn't know a great deal about Athy, but doing a bit of research, it turns out it's a very historic place. And there's two major characters in Athy history that I can find. One is Ernest Shackleton, the explorer. The other is a local entrepreneur, Daniel Curtis. It's him I'm talking to. So you are the boss of Athy Dragons, are you not? Is that correct?
Yeah, myself and Aidan McHugh would be. Aidan McHugh would have been the founder of it in Athy. Like Aidan started it off maybe in 2010 with a bunch of girls called the Barline Babe store at the start, kind of thing. So there's just a bunch of girls on their own there got together with Aidan McHugh, and then I joined about 4 or 5 years later, and then kind of set up the committee with Aidan, and then moved on from there as vice chairperson and Aidan chairperson.
So did you say it's been going since 2005?
No, it's been going since 2011.
Right. So actually, so I think the Irish Dragon Boat Association started in 2000. So you must be one of the founding clubs. Must be the early club.
I think it would have been Julie down in Carlow. Her neighbours would have been. They would have set it up maybe the previous year or two, and then they came to Athy, and then they got involved with Athy and set up a regatta in Athy. Then so it kind of started from there. Then with Aidan McHugh, and he kind of got on board, and he started to form maybe 3 or 4 clubs or 3 or 4 dragon boat teams, kind of thing, as a novice thing, expecting it to be a bit of fun and that, you know.
Because I met Aidan the first time I met Aidan was in March. What a lovely man, who was obviously very much engaged in the community, getting stuff moving, and that's exactly what you're talking about. So I have to talk to him as well, but where was his interest in dragon boating to start with? Was it a community thing or something?
Yeah, I mean, Aidan would have been on the river. I would have only got to know Aidan as well through dragon boating, but Aidan would have been, part of the river in Athy in many areas, I suppose, around Ireland. Probably 30 or 40 years he's been involved with the canoeing club or canoeing, and he always had something got to do with the river. He loves the river. And then he these other youth things going on in Athy as well, with gymnastics and other stuff going on, you know.
So amazing. And then, so how did you yourself get involved? I appreciate you've now sort of risen to running the club.
Yeah, I suppose we were. It happened by accident, really. I mean, we were just walking downtown, myself and Edwina, my wife, one day, just going for a stroll through the town. And we see the activity on the barrow, and we just dropped down and we had a look and got speaking to Aidan at that time. And then Edwina, actually, my wife, says to him, can these guys, Dan has a business up in Dublin, can he get involved and can we put a team in? So Edwina or Aidan, he was all for that. So I think a couple of days later, then we got a team of the Kendra guys together, as my company is Kendra Civil Engineer in Ireland. So we got a team of guys from that company together, and never really looked back, really.
It's quite interesting because we had a few meals down in Athy in March. We had a few meals, yourself and myself and Aidan, and he struck me, one, as a very nice gentleman, and secondly, the sort of person who, if you sat down with, had a beer with, or had a meal with, you would get enthused by what he was. He's one of those. He's like lighting the touch paper sort of person. I think you come away from him thinking, oh yeah, that's possible. So I get exactly what you're talking about. But he's just he must be in his 70s now, must be.
Yeah, Aidan's in his 70s, and he's still as passionate about dragon boating as he was in day one. That's why he maybe once or twice he wanted to kind of say, oh look, you go on, Dan, you bring it on. And I said, no, Aidan, you're staying where you are, because he's the maker of the club. And without him, really, I mean, we all look up to Aidan as we're one big family here, to be honest. And Aidan is like our father, and we won't kind of go away from what he's doing and are asking us to do. And I mean, he has the club, and the club is where it is today because of Aidan. And that's the truth of it. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do it on my own. Aidan has vast experience in dragon boating and anything got to do with the water safety side of things. And
Yes.
I mean, nobody really goes that and does that. If Aidan says do it this way, we do it that way, you know, and that's what everyone likes about Aidan. He really is passionate about it, you know.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because when you get anybody who gets senior in a sport or an organisation, there's always a tendency for people to take a big step back. But he's very much hands-on. Even that training day we had, you know, he was around. He was there to help. He wasn't actually in the boat, but he was helping out, doing stuff, moving boats, doing this, and he was very visible. And you could see he's as that father or grandfather of the club. That's great.
Yeah.
It's good to see. Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, from juniors up to seniors. I mean, we start off the juniors here, and we start off at 8 years of age, and the eldest lad maybe on our own boat would be maybe 65, 66, and we all look at it the very same way. You know, we give him the respect that he deserves. You know.
Okay, so I mean, how have you been in the current restrictions? Obviously, it's starting to open up now, but how have you been managing to keep people together, which is what basically a very close community sport? How has that been working in Athy?
It has been hard, to be honest with you, Tim, but really what the thing you've set up over and got everyone around the dragon boat community all over Europe involved in, we enjoyed that. We enjoyed that competition we done, and we got involved with, it was actually the Vikings that we got involved with in that, Lauren from the Vikings and, or Lorraine, sorry, and, you know, she accepted us, and 4 or 5 of us got involved in that, and that passed a couple of weeks and got us all kind of back into a bit of activity. Other than that, we'd be just doing our own, maybe cycling or running or walking or whatever it may be, and trying to keep in contact as much as we could that way. But it has been hard, in fairness, with the COVID-19, and hopefully now this weekend is our first weekend back in 3 months. Really, we're trying to just go back in a small way, probably 6 to 8 people on the boat, you know.
Right. Because I mean, I remember when I came over in early March, I think that was when COVID was just about getting going, and you sent me a message, and it's the first message I got of that sort, saying, have you had any symptoms or something? And I thought I was quite pleased you did, because when I do corporate stuff, you know, I get my insurance and all the rest of risk assessments. I'm really pleased when people ask me whether I'm insured, because one, it shows me they are interested enough to know whether I'm covered. You know what I mean? Just from a So that was really, that was thought. This struck me as an organisation that was keen on the health, welfare, safety of its members. And when I came across it, that's exactly what it was. A very close community. But then I've noticed that Irish paddling is more of your individual clubs. It's more of a community activity, whether you're in Donegal or you're in Cork. Well, it's much more connected and interdependent than it is in the UK. It's just the way you do it. It must be the Irish ingredient. That's all it can be.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, with especially with the dragon boating here, I mean, it has brought a different community of people together, if you like, where, you know, everyone looks at each other as part of the family of dragon boating. I mean, you know, the only time we're not a family with the other clubs is when we're on race day or in the regatta, where we all kind of go out to compete. But other than that, we try to help each other out. If we have something going on, here's a festival or a fundraiser, or it could be Donegal or Kilkenny or Dublin or Carlow, we all try to support each other in that and making sure that the clubs kind of stay with that, has that connection together, that, you know, and move forward together, you know.
I think it's brilliant. As far as I'm concerned, what I've seen, having seen dragon boat done differently in different countries, one of the best places I've seen it done is definitely Ireland. And in fact, on our Paddle the World program, I interviewed Julie Doyle yesterday, and this year is the 10th anniversary. Yeah, it is 10th anniversary of the Irish Dragon Association. I think it's 15 or 16 clubs, very strong breast cancer. A lot of the clubs got 50 to 60 members, and it's a 10-year-old success story. I know other countries that are sort of struggling after 10 years and this sort of stuff. So that's a credit to the organisation, people like yourselves, and that close community spirit that you've got there as well. But really, it's good to see.
Yeah, in fairness as well to Julie and the Irish Dragon Boat Association. I mean, they are there for the clubs whenever the clubs are needed, and they have good guidelines in place, and they have safety and and the training and everything. You know, we have to follow all those guidelines, and especially with the Dragon Boat Association, we're all members of it.
Yeah.
So we're happy with it. Things are going. You know, going forward. Then again, we're looking at. We're looking at maybe trying to set up a league here in Ireland, kind of where we can get a summer league going. We've 3 races a year here, whereas the Thai Carlo and the International in Dublin. So hopefully next year we get talking to the Irish Dragon Boat Association, maybe in Julie and the other clubs around Ireland, and hopefully set up something like that, and maybe get you over a little bit more often, Tim.
Well, I what I've got to say over the last few months, because I've been in contact with a number of clubs. What I'm certainly going to do anyway is I've just got myself a Land Rover, and I'm going to put a few boats on it as soon as restrictions open, and I'm going to come and do a tour of Ireland, because I've been talking to all these various people about paddling these different rivers that I've heard of but never paddled. But that's by the by. But that would be just a pleasure anyway. But just in terms of Athy, so have you got anybody actually out on the water now in terms of single boats, or how's the restrictions playing out specifically in Athy?
Yeah, over the last couple of weeks now, we have the just down the road from us here. We're actually in the same club as the Thai Canoe and our own club, so they have been out a little bit more in the last couple of weeks, because the restrictions have been. I mean, whereas Ireland had they brought in restrictions as well with COVID-19 that we couldn't get onto the water at all. But from each phase, that's you know, the COVID-19 now in fairness to the government here, I think, and the people of Ireland, I mean, we have contained it, and the virus is retracting very, very much so. I think last night, in the previous maybe 2 weeks, we're down under the 20s with the virus. A couple of deaths, unfortunately, for those the families, and I think the government done such a good job on it that we are now starting to accelerate the phases. So we are getting back on the water. As I say, the canoe club is back out in a small way, kind of thing. Myself and you know, again, the competition kind of thing that you set up, myself and one of the lads out with Kendra Warriors, Mick Renahan, we got on the boat and we done a 5k. Linda Dobbin and a few of the other girls as well, Rena Kelly, they were on the canoes as well, and so we are starting to get back out, but we do miss the water. We miss the dragon boarding, and we miss the kids, the juniors. We miss everyone kind of getting together, and you know, part of our family are kind of, you know, missing at the minute, you know, until we get them all back on the water and get the family back together, if you like.
I think something that's been quite interesting, because a lot of the, and I'm not necessarily talking about the UK or Ireland in particular, but a lot of the governing bodies are around the place are very focused on the racing side of things. And yes, it is a racing association, but I think sometimes they might miss it's a huge community activity as well. And if you sort of think about that is racing, that is canoeing. And a lot of people, yes, they race, but they really want to get this community aspect of it as well that really is worth emphasizing. But it's yes, racing is important, but it's not just about. And I love racing, but it's not just about racing. Just getting out, doing something different. Yeah, great. So
I think you're 100% right there, and I think because especially the dragon boating side of it, I mean, you know, we can have, you know, what other sports can you get into that's a 65-year-old can get in, and at the end of the day, yeah, it's not so serious and that we have the fun, but then when the serious competitions come along and that man is 65 years of age can put a medal around his neck for first, second or third place. I mean, you can't get that in any other sport but dragon boating kind of thing, you know.
There's a couple of themes that are quite interesting, because we would have training camps in different countries, all sorts of places, and you'd have people who are the top end national squad athletes with people who are in maybe their first couple of years of paddling. And I can't think of any other sport where you have that spread of people. I mean, it's like, or maybe, I don't know, I know nothing about Gaelic football, but say you had the top All-Ireland champion, they wouldn't have a knockaround with a bunch of relative novices. Well, they might do for a charity event, but not on a regular basis. And it's just one of those peculiar things that happens with dragon boating that works and works well. So
yeah, I think definitely dragon boating. I mean, the youngest in our boat, I suppose, would be in his 30s, and the eldest guy, again, I'd say 60, 65, I think 66 this year. I won't mention his name, he could kill me, but I mean, you know, like, that's a team we put together several years ago. I mean, Kendra Warriors, the original, there's probably 7 or 8, maybe 9 original lads on that boat still, and we've only been beaten once in the international teams in Dublin. We've never been beaten in Ireland, kind of thing, other than the only time we've been beaten in Ireland really is a British team bet us by a couple of seconds in Dublin, probably 3 or 4 years ago. I'm not sure.
That was in 2017, and guess who was in the boat?
Were you on it?
that was the London Lions. Yeah, that was us.
Yeah, I think it could have been you actually, Tim. I'm not sure now because we meet so many people at that time in Dublin. But I remember one of you guys saying to me at the time, like, it really was great to get that kind of competition, because you're obviously coming over here. You were a bit of a mixed team as well, weren't you? So you were.
In fairness, I say London Lions. It was the London Warriors. What it was basically, I was the coach of the British Premier team, and there was a large proportion of us because we'd just come back from the World Championships. So there was, I don't know, probably 60% of that team were Premier squad. So the fact that we only beat you by a couple of seconds, if that, is a huge credit to you. Because really, when you think about it, an international team should be beating you by a lot more. So actually, it was, yes, we won, but yeah, there's credit to you for that being such a close race.
Yeah, no, we enjoyed it as well. And to be fair, the big thing is, and it kind of gave us a boost as well, because sometimes, and I'm sure you had the same, you know, to get these teams training 2 or 3 days a week, it's very hard, and have their other commitments and other sports as well. But you know, I always say you have to put in the commitment to get out the rewards, kind of thing. You know, you can't do it without that. But we truly enjoyed it, and we do love going to Dublin and competing against the best when they come from all other countries as well. So it's great. And then the clubs in Ireland as well. I mean, the Dublin Vikings are always on our tail. The Kilkenny club now, they're coming strong behind us as well. And you know, I think it's only a matter of time before somebody passes it out. But we keep it as long as we can anyway. You know.
But I've got to say, I mean, having done a reasonable amount of racing, I've been in boats where we've been 10 boat lengths ahead, and you think that's good, and it's not. But the best racing, whether it's domestic racing, festival racing, international racing, is when you have 3, 4, 5 boats going across the line, and you, at the end, everyone is so close, you don't know what the score is. That's the sort of racing.
Yeah, that's the good ones. That's what you want to see. There's no point in being way ahead. The interest has gone out of it, kind of thing. But when you've just 4 or 5 heads coming over the line at one time, that's the best one.
That's what it's all about. And so the other thing is, so we're talking racing there, but that's also interesting from a coaching point of view, when you get people who, especially ladies in their 40s, 50s, who may have sort of been mothers and returned, or just get reintegrated or reinterested in sport, and they suddenly realise they can be competitive, and of course they can, but it's a realisation themselves. Actually, no, we can achieve. And I was talking to Lorraine up in Dublin, and she come in she won't mind me saying, she came into the sport in her 40s. Tried to get in the Irish team in 2016, didn't manage it, then came back in 2018, ended up with 3 silver medals. Yeah. And nobody's going to give you any international medals, so you've got to earn that. And it's really good to see people of all ages just aspiring to and achieving things, and it's proper achievement. So
I think, definitely, without a doubt. And I think Lorraine, just touching on her, I mean, you know, I've got to know Lorraine through the dragon boating again. I mean, it's amazing what amount of people that you meet and stay friends with and become good friends with. And Lorraine, I have to say, she's as competitive as myself. You know, I mean, I don't like losing. That's probably a fault I have. And Lorraine, I think, has the same fault. I mean, but at the same time, to lose to a good team, you know, there's no shame in that, you know.
Yeah, but you say that, and yes, you could say, well, I don't think it's a fault. I mean, it's if you were ultra competitive about everything you did every day, then we would be insufferable. But in the right place, what it does, it inspires other people to get competitive as well. And like I say, you've got a great mix over there, because you've got the community side of things, and then you're racing, and then your community. So it's not all. I've been in some places where there's been like a team that's really competitive, wins everything, and it's not a very popular team. But you don't have that. You see what I mean? Because it becomes their sort of some we don't touch them, we don't talk to them. But it's not that situation in Ireland at all.
No. I mean, I think the way it is. I mean, everyone has the banter on the day, and we'll all have to laugh and crack with everyone, and especially your team. I mean, you know, we're some of them call us the big friendly giants, because some of them on the boat. Mick Moore, he's 6'5" or 6'6", and he can give the banter, and he gives it, you know. But I mean, and everyone enjoys that. And I mean, we went down to Donegal last year, and they had Deborah and the women down there had a festival down there, and we went down, and you know, it was great. It wasn't about winning; it was about having the fun and crack with all the other teams around the country. We went out that night, and we all got in and had the crack, and we had a hoolie down there, but it was great, you know, and we enjoyed that part of it as well. And I suppose the only thing I'd say, I mean, so far, I mean, and it's a women's sport in Ireland. I mean, it's a lot of women here. I mean, that the lads, I think, I mean, and we went to Donegal as well. I mean, to try and, you know, for Deborah and the Donegal club to try and get more men involved, and it'd be great to get more men involved in Ireland. And I don't think to see the seriousness side of it. I mean, where you do have these competitions and you do get serious, but at the same time, it's all about fun. And even when, you know, we try to capture maybe when the football, you know, when they retire from football at that age and have no other sports to do maybe, or they're kind of left in the limb. And if they got into the dragon boat, I mean, you know, a couple of times in that boat, and you will be saying, Jesus, yeah. And even the fitness and physical side of it. I mean, we had some lads that come down and say, oh yeah, you know, we'll get onto the boat. And I mean, again, they're finished on that paddling session. They are tired, you know. So it is good for even, you know, but I would like to see more men get involved, you know.
That's interesting, because I was chatting to, firstly, Roger at Kilkenny and also Mark O'Connor down in Cork. And they were pretty much saying the same thing. They said, well, you know, in Ireland at the moment, still, the more the traditional sports are going to be the big draw for people. And that'd be an interesting project to see how you would draw people away from that. Because I didn't realise it was more of a ladies' sport. Well, it's not ladies' sport, is it? But I know there was the national team was a senior A team. But that'd be interesting to see how you would draw people. Maybe not draw people away, but just do it as a concurrent thing. I don't know. It's just interesting.
I mean, we've been speaking to Roger. Roger comes up as well, and we've been speaking to Roger as well about, you know, even kind of, we kind of mix out the team sometimes maybe, and we'd go and do something with Roger or something like, and get the lads involved more kind of thing. And a mixed team is very good as well, to be honest with you. I was thinking of maybe putting a mixed team together next year and having a good mixed team, because there's some of the women and they're very competitive and very good, you know, and they want to be more with the competitive side of things. And then you have other men and women that they want to just come for the just get out of the house really, and you know, go for a paddle down the river and without any pressure put on them for training and things like that. So we're trying to get that kind of part sorted as well, where, you know, we don't want to be turning anyone away or turning anyone off, because, you know, when you get on a boat with, say, the Kendra Warriors or the Dragon Hearts or the Dragon Slayers, that they're the teams that want to win, and there's other women then or men that might want to join but not get into that competitive side of things. So we're trying to kind of get the level on that, you know.
I mean, it's quite funny you say that, because I've seen a number of teams that have the community basis to start with, but of course, by the time you get people in the team, suddenly they become more competitive. So it's a good way of, you know, lots of people do that, and lots of people stay just doing the community. But there's a steady stream. Once you get them in a boat and they see how fast the boat can go, working together and that sort of stuff. And I think there's a big draw where it's not everyone needs to be paddling, but it's not it's, you know, the fact it's a solo effort. Everyone's doing the same thing in the same way at the same time. That's a big draw for a lot of people. So yeah,
exactly, yeah. And I mean, just even to go back as far as what's happening really with the, especially the Thai club now at the minute, we've so many juniors now that's on in the club.
Yeah.
I think we've over 35, 40 juniors now between the girls and the lads, and I mean they're starting off at 8 years of age to up around 16 years of age. I mean the juniors, the Thai Dragon Boat Junior Club last year, I mean, they had beaten, they won in Carlow, the Carlow Regatta, they won in a Thai Regatta, and they won in Dublin Regatta. So they had the 3 wins in the 3 regattas in Ireland here. And even last year for the club, it was the best year ever, I think, because even we had the regatta here in Carlow, the senior team, the lads, Kendra Warriors won the senior the races, the women won their race, and they were first in their team, and the juniors were first. So we'd full firsts here last year, so it was great for the club, you know.
So how, I mean, aside from that, how strong is youth paddling in Ireland at the moment? Is it sort of still getting going, or is it? I
think what the problem, and it's not a problem, but the lack we have in Ireland at the minute, I suppose, really, Tim, is, I mean, coaching is a big thing here in Ireland. I mean, you know, we would have had a couple of guys that was, you know, Helms and coaching, Glenn and Aaron, and I mean they've gone on now. Glenn has gone to Cork, and Aaron has gone to he joined the Guards in Dublin. And I mean, I suppose at the end, we, you know, to keep it going and keep it strong, we definitely need to get more coaches involved and more Helms and things like that we can get training done. Now, Julie is very good down in Carlow, in fairness to her, but I think we need to kind of keep that element going, and as the clubs get bigger and more widespread, I do think we need to put something in place on that front, that we're not lacking something when it comes to the competitions and things like that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Julie a little while ago about that, and I've had an ongoing conversation. Of course, the aspiration is, and I agree with this, you don't really want to be bringing somebody in from the outside all the time, but the idea is to maybe bring somebody in and grow, then develop something organically. So you see what I mean? So I don't know what role I would play, but somebody like me would come in, train the coaches, and the coaches go on and carry on rather than importing people. But that's something for Ireland. But I think that's a huge growth area, because that's the future of the sport, isn't it? I mean, I'm 58. You know, I enjoy my sport, but I'm not actually I'm probably not going to be competing into my 70s. But I hope I am. But if you can get somebody mobilised and motivated now, in their early sort of teens, 20s, and then carry on from there, they may stay with the sport.
Yeah, and I think that's it. And I think with the junior technique, I mean, as I say, this was always a kind of a novice thing in Ireland kind of thing. And I mean, I suppose going forward for our club, and I'm sure other clubs as well, I mean, going forward, we have to get our technique right. I mean, you know, and that's not just you know, we did start, Julie was down and Mick from Carlow was down, and we brought you over once, Tim, and then everything went with COVID. You were expected. We had you kind of coming over 3 or 4 times for the season, which is great because it's something new and it's something that, you know, that you could bring, say, from England, that what way you're doing it over in England, and it just adds something extra to the table, if you like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think you over here, I would call it the visiting coach effect. So what would happen is, you and I could be saying the same thing, and the fact that a coach comes over from somewhere else is a little bit novel. I wouldn't say people are more inclined to listen to it because it's new. But of course, the bottom line is we're trying to get the paddlers, the athletes, to improve. You see what I mean? And
yeah,
same as if I was running a club here and you came over and do some coaching. Okay, we've got Dan coming over from Athy. Oh wow, fantastic! Something new, something different. Exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the catalyst. Then that's the main thing there. But yeah, absolutely. So I'm more than happy, and I loved it. That one weekend I came over. But moving forward in terms of, you know, accepting the restrictions at the moment, how do you see Athy developing into the future once you're back on the water? I appreciate there'll be a bit of a hiatus at the moment. So what's your plans for the next few years?
I think my plans are, and you know, I have to speak to other clubs about it as well. But I mean, we feel at the minute now that we've brought it as far as we can, as far as maybe the 3 regattas are in Ireland at the minute. So we need to move on from there, and we need to keep the interest there. And to keep the interest there, I mean, we've a regatta, say, in the Thai, and then a month later, which is 4 weeks, we've one in Carlow, and then it's 2 months break before, nearly 2.5 months break before we've another regatta in Dublin, the international one. So it's hard to keep everyone interested, because the juniors especially, they want to race, they want to be getting into races. So this is where we're hoping that we might be able to get a league maybe going between the clubs. That we've 15 to 18 clubs here in Ireland. It shouldn't be that hard to get a league going in Ireland, that we're racing maybe every two to 3 weeks,
Yeah. Okay, so that's I mean, I'm sure that'd be very popular from what the conversations I've had, not about that, but people talk about how keen they are. I didn't realise that you did so little racing. Although
very little racing, yeah.
Oh, right, okay, interesting. Okay, so have you considered, given the current restrictions, I mean, do you do much small boat racing, 10-person boat racing over there? I don't know if any teams have got.
Yeah, well, we've actually got now. We have 2 10 boat race, or 10 boats here now, 10-man boats here. So we are going to try and get that more involved. At the minute, they're not in the regattas, or not in the racing, the 10 boats. So we're going to try and get that done. I mean, there's another couple of clubs that do we have our own say Big Barrow Splash, we call it here in the Thai, but just to introduce it to the novice teams and people that haven't raced or been on a boat before. So I mean, we have that every August weekend. That's not going to happen, I think, this year. Maybe September. We'll see how the guidelines are going. But I mean, last year we had, I think, 18 novice teams on the river here in the Thai, and every one of them, it's just a fun day out for everyone, the family. We had stuff going on the banks as well, and it was great to see that happening. So I mean, then there's a few more things happening with other clubs as well. With they have a 10k challenge in Carlow and a few other places. So
Oh right, so there's other obviously, and then there's the Ocean 2 City, and there's other events going on. So stuff that people can do, but nothing that's organised that's going to keep the dragon boat community together as a particular bunch. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's most clubs themselves kind of get together, and we do our own thing, and it's a fundraising thing for the clubs as well, because obviously we need that as well. So I mean, it's getting bigger and bigger here in Ireland, the dragon boating, and I mean, I think in the next couple of years we will have more clubs popping up all over Ireland, and hopefully we'll get more men involved and get a bit more competition for the Kendra Warriors.
Sounds good. Well, absolutely. I'll have to put another team together, bring them over.
Yeah, definitely, Tim. We look forward to that.
Okay, I'll tell you what. That's just about 30 minutes. That's fantastic. Any concluding comments from you, my friend Dan? Because you're a busy man. So.
No, I think I think we've covered most of the things. I hope I didn't leave anyone out, to be honest with you. Because but yeah, I think we've covered everything there, Tim. And I mean, I think I truly enjoy the dragon boat, and I have my other things going on in life as well, kind of thing. So time is precious at the minute, but I mean, at the same time, I would never want to give up something like dragon boat. And I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, my son is in it, my wife is in it.
Yeah.
Guys from work is a great well-being, getting together, and it's very good for any company, really.
Absolutely. Like you say, I mean, we do focus a lot on racing, but the general health, well-being, taking yourself out of your normal comfort zone, taking you out on the water, whether it's on the sea, on an estuary, even on the canal there. Just reminded me, how's it going with the pub?
The pub is nearly there. I mean, we were meant to open in March, or sorry, the 11th of April, Easter weekend. That didn't happen because of COVID. I mean, but at the same time, it took the pressure off of us as well, kind of thing, because we were able to kind of do other things. We put a new roof on it, and we concentrated a little bit more inside. So, I mean, the guys that worked in the pub, most worked myself in Dublin, and some local contractors here in Athy. I mean, it couldn't have worked out better. I mean, everything is, we're opening now. I think the 9th of July we're opening, and the problem I'm going to have, I think, because we're getting great reaction. The Thai community in themselves and the surrounding areas, they've given us not but good comments on Facebook, and the reaction is great. Somewhere they can go and again enjoy themselves. It's not all about drinking alcohol. They can have a coffee or a mineral, or we're going to be doing the food as well there. So people can come with their families. I'm trying to have Beal. I mean, and we'll try to put them to better use. We're going to try and get pedal boats on the canal as well, and
Right.
you know, have a family weekends and things like that. So yeah, it's all positive, I think, and so we'll keep going with it. You know.
Okay. Just to conclude, for the benefit of our viewers and listeners, what is the name of the pub? What's your pub?
The Owl Shebeen. The Owl Shebeen.
Yeah. The Old Shebeen. So everybody, listen, watching this, get yourself down. 9th of July to the Old Shebeen, just on the canal bank in Athy. And I will certainly join you there as soon as I possibly can for a couple of orange juices or something.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, Tim.
Okay, my friend. Last question from me, and I think I know anyway. But what makes you happy?
Just being out there and, you know, helping others, to be honest with you, making sure that everyone gets what they deserve, and, you know.
Okay. Okay, Dan, hang on there. I'll knock the recording off. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay, good evening, everybody. This is Attila. Attila, lovely name, from Donegal, but not originally from Donegal. So, my friend, before we get into it, tell me how you end up with a great name like Attila, living in Donegal. Over to you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Attila, originally from Hungary, as a Han, like everybody says sometimes, and currently I'm living in Donegal in Ireland. So we moved in Ireland 2004, so actually we are a long time living in Ireland, especially in Donegal since 2009. So originally I was born in Hungary, and I was living there, I mean, my young ages. There I went into the sport, like I was playing football. I was a goalkeeper actually, so I was always looking for team sports, not just individually. And since we came to Ireland, I was finished the sports because I'm a chef myself, so basically it's very busy and a lot long hours, 5 even 6 days a week. But since my daughter was born, actually she born in Ireland, since that I try to find also the job like I can make more social life, more time with the family. So I was looking for sport again. And in our village where we're living, there is actually still on the local rowing club. I went, I joined them. It was a couple of years, and I really enjoyed it. That was nice time. And one day somebody was just tell me, why you don't try dragon boats, you know? And I say, well, is okay, but when? Oh, whenever you can coming, you know, it's open. We're always looking for people to join us. Just try it. And I was, to be honest, I was a bit skeptic because, well, dragon boat, dumb. That's okay. It's nothing special. Why not? I try because they was asking. So I never forget that the first day when I joined the Donegal Dragons in the Donegal Bay, that warm welcome, how they was greetings me, and that atmosphere, what was around the whole of it. So I was just sitting in the boat and look at the whole of them, and I say, wow, that's actually missing from my life. So from the first minute, it was like a magic. Yeah. That sport totally catch me. And basically I was a really rookie. I think I was just paddling, even opposite side, the timing was splashing everything, but I really enjoy myself. And they was really great things, really happy, you know, and those that catch me. Actually, I went only just once, and that was 3 years ago, so I still stick with them.
Right, okay. It's interesting, actually, because one thing I've found over the last few months is, I'm not living in the UK. I've done a little bit of coaching in Ireland, and I'm struck by the warm welcome and the community, just camaraderie, just the whole community, not just within the clubs, but between the clubs as well. We've done some challenges and clubs have joined and helped each other out. This happens elsewhere, of course, but I think in Ireland it's got a particularly nice feel to it. I'm looking forward to coming over to Ireland and paddling the rivers of Ireland, and I'm going to come to your restaurant, and I'm going to keep eating your restaurant as well. So wherever you work.
Yeah, actually in Ireland, yeah.
So tell me more
Yeah, in
about.
Ireland, because
Yeah, go on. Sorry, we've got not so great internet.
no, because yeah, his connection looks like coming back again.
Yeah.
Anyway, so since we're in Ireland, the first 5 years we was living County Leitrim.
Right.
Then we was just find out why not we moving up to Donegal. So since it's taking Donegal, but during that I say 16 years, we travel around the whole island, and I knew that before. The Hungarians are very welcome, very nice people, but since I know the Irish people, I can compare that warm welcome, that helpful people, and just absolutely amazing attitude, good crack. So especially in Donegal, that small community is really, we keep each other closely together. We have a contact. Since the pandemic happens, of course, everything was closed down, but we created like a timer, like a Zoom page, was chatting with each other on the timer, for the special application for the teams, the sport teams. We was daily contact with them. We was pushing ourselves out this, horrible time, helping mentally, even coaching like Deborah did every day was a big help to us. I think come on guys, do it. That she was always find out different exercises.
Yep.
And just was unreal how this team together and how is that mentality. And I have to say that Irish mentality can show everywhere, even when we go to the shop or the bank or just in the street. The great things to really everyone on the street. Even you can just stand the people, you never see that, and you just start chatting and you recognize, oh my God, I have to run in because 10 minutes we're talking, and even I don't know who was you before. So I mean, that mentality is amazing in Ireland, and also is important. I mean, especially with the community. So if somebody needs help, we're standing beside them. So we help them out. Also, like I say, the team, like the Donegal Dragons, actually we have a yearly plan also what we can do for the community. So basically also we do fundraising, like for example, we do bagging, in the Super Bowl, for example.
Yes.
Take a goods in the bag, collecting money. And also do individually many challenges for different occasions, fundraising. And it's working very well. So also we try to give to the community as well. We keep clean that Bay Area.
Yes. Yeah.
Even nobody was asking, but it's like we clean that area. I mean, it's a whole tourist area. So sometimes, especially in the summertime, can be rubbish also in the water. But few of us, I say everybody, few kayaks, and they go around the bay, pick up the plastic, everything, brush over the concrete, and this looks keep tidy. So actually we do as well that. And also before the last year regatta, we was painting that area. I mean, the corridors, what was corrosion, we fixed that. And we try to give also back to the community. And I think it's very nice things. Because also was touched me that things really deeply when last year we went to the Dublin regatta.
Yes.
And in the morning when we arrived to the bus, I just see V-Bags and I say, what's that? Oh, it's our local shop, sponsor you, just, wish you best and have a nice day. And I say, wow.
Yeah.
Dragon Boat is quite a big team.
Yeah.
It was, that stage actually was 2 teams, and everybody gets one by one individually. So that's unreal. We are amateur sport club. But also the hotel will sponsor us that time, and everybody get their t-shirt, with the Dragon logo on it. So just, I can say only nice things about here, and also we want to give back them as well.
But it's I mean, lots of clubs around the world do charity events, charity fundraisers, but it seems to be a central theme, as you say, especially in Donegal and other clubs in Ireland as well, where giving back to the community focus, charity is a key part of what you do. That's unusual, and it's nice to see as well. And it makes it gives the whole thing a nice flavour, nice ambience, really, I suppose. Now, one thing that surprises me is getting to know Irish paddlers as I do, that the paddling community is very rich in ladies, not so rich in gentlemen. Now, so why do you think that might be? Why is there relatively few men doing dragon boating? Because Irish men are very competitive. I know a few. They're
Yeah.
competitive men. So why do you think they
Well,
don't go dragon boating?
that's actually my, biggest hope. More men will join our clubs. I know Irish people love sports, but I recognize that soccer, football, Gaelic, rugby, and I think that's nearly the whole of it. So, and also another things I recognize that when I was spoken in the last years, many men about join with me, try the paddling, go to dragon boats, and they really associated about this cancer things.
Yes.
Many people knowledge is very low about that, so they still thinking daily base like the paddlers only just can be cancer survivors or just women.
Yes.
And when I tell them just one thing, and I always say that, listen, this is the fastest growing water sport in the whole world, and it says everything. And also I say, like in Hungary, I came from Hungary, and last year I found in my hometown one of the team, they call Dragon Steel, and I become friend with them as well. And I think half of the team is also the Hungarian national team members, and Edith is actually, she's a coach as well there. So I really became friend with them, and that team, I say nearly 0.5% is men. And I was spoke with her as well, because also she has big experience paddling around the world, and she say, yeah, you have to push that. You have to push in Ireland more men into this sport. Because if you see in Ireland today, there's only one team in Atay. They are mostly men. Like I call them men team. Well, few women sitting in the boat, but I say men teams. And also Dublin, like Dublin team, yeah, there is men's, but in Donegal, unfortunately, well, now we are 4 of us, so I really cannot complain. But I think it is still we need it. My dream is, because actually we own 3 boats.
Right.
It's very good especially in Ireland, like amateur club have 3 boats. I think it's unreal.
Yeah.
But my biggest dream is like one day I go training with a man, just man. Don't take me wrong, I really love that. I really love the mixed team, especially with the ladies in Donegal. They just amazing, unreal. I never think that when on the first day I was really scary about, oh my God, next training, what's his name? And since that, day by day and training by training, I just recognize that how amazing people, person individually, all of them. And I learn a lot from them. And I really love to be part of this team. And not only, well, I love paddling, but also I really like to be with them, just even the warm up, just a full crack, a full fun, and just chat with them. But also is different side when is more men in the boat, so hopefully in the near future we get more.
Okay, because interesting. Once you get into mixed team racing and open team racing, obviously the options are much greater, aren't they? And I think there's Kendra Dragons, which is, I know Dan Curtis is involved in that, because they've only been beaten once, Kendra Dragons, and I was in the team that beat them, by the way. But that's neither here nor there. But
that's good.
Which I told Dan wasn't too impressed of when I told him that. I reminded him of that. In fact, my son's staying with me now. He was actually helming the team that beat the Kendra Warriors. But anyway, that aside, so last points from you.
That's also my plan.
So how would you individually, what would you say? So you now got an opportunity. So you're talking to an individual who's never paddled a dragon boat before. What would be your concluding comments to try and persuade them to come and paddle with Donegal Dragons?
Yeah, it's like that's a good sample myself. Like in the beginning, I was really skeptic. I was even laughing that. I remember the year before I joined the Dragons, we was down in Cork, the ocean to city, the race with
Right.
the rowers. And when we was passing dragon boats, I was really laughing like, boom, boom, boom. And I say, guys, what's happening here? Go faster because it's safe. So that's moment I remember when I first sit in the boat, it's became, and I was really laughing, you know. But when I start to paddling, it's just, wow, that's a real sport. That's really, you have to be here in the head as well. You have to be focused. You have to be concentrated. You have to do the same. Otherwise, it's collapsing.
Yeah.
And at that stage, I just recognized that's it. That's the sport I'm looking for it. So that's why I say to many people, like, I know you're laughing now. I know you don't believe me now. Just give me a day. Give me just 1 hour and I'll show you what I talk about.
Yeah.
This was a good sample where I'm working actually my boss. I was chasing nearly every day. Calm down. Calm down. With me. We go to paddling. No, I always in the bay. On the water, yeah, we couldn't move the boat. He's, fixed with the pontoon. We just was paddling in the water, and he was there. And actually, Deborah nearly catch him to the boat. You have to try that. And after that, I was talk with him, and he said, "Yeah, Attila is a real sport." Wow, fair play to you. So
yeah,
that's what I want to say. I think many people don't believe it until they don't try it. So
yes.
that's we started to work on it in the near future. We want to catch more people because we have a core members. Like, every year somebody joins, somebody leaves. I think that's normal in the club, like nearly 50, 60 people in the club.
Yeah.
I think it's normal. So we every year want to improve, getting more people involved, and also catch the young ones. Like at the moment, like last year at Dublin Regatta, our son was a drummer. He made amazing, unreal job.
Yeah.
Was like, oh my God, we have to build up also the U16 team. So this year we actually we wanted to go one of the school in Donegal town, but that was a pandemic, was cancel our plan. Like everything was sorted out. We wanted to show what is mean dragon boat for the young people. So it was ready prepped, like bring up drum, paddle, and also the information about dragon boat. And it would be interesting. That was a plan in the near future. We bring them to the harbor and try to work with them. So that's actually one of our future point. So show new sport, to the young people, and of course involve more men, because we also do regattas. So we
Yes.
are a racing team, because our basic week is like during the normal period. Like Monday was race training, Wednesday was technique training, and every Friday we call that social evening, social night. Like was just paddling out, have a fun, have a crack, singing on the water. So that was magical night as well. But during the rest of the week in the morning time, we made dry training or even training in the swimming pool. We made special seats, so we was paddling on the pool.
Yes.
Sitting beside the pool, just paddling the water. So about the power and the strength. And I think that club is working very well. Just we have to really show the people what we do, what we want to do. And that was very good time in the last year, Donegal Regatta. I think I can see that yearly by more people interested for it. And also I have to say that in all Ireland, like I was in few competition in the past, in Dublin, Athy, Carlow, Kilkenny. I see more and more people watching what we're doing. And I think it's coming the time when start interesting. That was a very good sample about the coastal rowing in Ireland.
Yeah.
After that, we get a very good, we earn very good, how you call that? I mix myself. So when we start won competitions outside the country, everybody wanted to row.
Yeah.
I recognize that in Donegal, in 1 month, we had a lot of rowing clubs. And that was a bomb. That was 3 years ago. So I think it's coming with the dragon boat as well. They get more publicity. I see more videos on YouTube, even more competition from around the world. You can follow them. And I think people start interested in this sport.
Okay, my friend. Let's leave it there. That's given us some food for thought, actually, about why less men are coming forward, and some ideas about how we can try and generate some more interest there. It may just be that in the past, because of the success of the breast cancer teams, then the perception is that it's mainly a ladies' sport, and we might have just missed a trick in terms of attracting more men. You see what I mean? I think that's quite an interesting angle to think about. And like I say, the community aspect of things, the friendliness, the social side of things, what is there not to like? Okay, really. And I think the way that dragon boating is done in Ireland is a little bit special when I looked at the way it's done elsewhere in the world. So thank you for your thoughts on that. Thank you. We did this twice actually, because we got internet connection problems with Donegal or between us, but I think we've got it that time. And once again, thank you. Second take, pretty good. And I'll send it to you and we'll see how we go from there. But in the meantime, once again, thank you very much. Thanks for your time. And I'll talk
Thank
to
you very much,
soon.
Steve. Thanks.
See you later. Cheers,
Bye.
mate. Bye.
Thanks.